I couldn't. I love the night. That's the only time I feel really alive.
That's what David wanted.
Blood, I was to find, was a necessity as well.
A vampire in love with a slayer. It's rather poetic. I am the monster the breathing men would kill. I am Dracula.
Good evening, my fellow vampire lovers. The sun is going down, and you know what that means. It's time for me to record another episode of my podcast, The Beautiful Dead. As always, I'm your host, Lena Nazari. Go find me on Instagram. It's The Beautiful Dead Podcast. That's where I am the most active. That's where I jump on and show things like my workouts, what I'm doing, where I'm at, what's coming up, random thoughts, whatever. It is August. I don't care. To me, it is spooky season. I probably already have cracked open the pumpkin coffee. Possibly have already started decorating for Halloween. I did get a new animatronic, a vampire animatronic, so if you're following me on Instagram, you probably already saw it. We're just going to keep moving ahead, okay? I'm working on the books. You guys probably already know all the stuff that's going on with the book, but the plan is to have it out the day after Labor Day, so yay! And I am deep into research for my spooky season topics and preparing for all my guests. So very, very exciting. So this week we're talking about Habit from 1995. And this one was recommended to me by @DanielWise1724. So thank you, Daniel. We have another Daniel. He, excuse me. He asked me to do Habit. So I ordered it. I got it. Popped it in. Right out of the gate, there's a vampire crossover that I caught. So the star of this film, who's also the writer and director, so good for you, is Larry Fessenden. Fessenden? I don't know. Let me know. Fessenden. Anywho, he played Jacob in Jacob's Wife, which I did cover. And he was in one episode of The Strain, which I need to cover one of these days. That's going to be a juggernaut to talk about. And he was in a movie called Stakeland, Stake, Stakeland. So Larry likes a vampire film, which I'm here for. And the fact that he wrote this makes me think that he would probably love this channel. So hopefully one day he'll find it. All right, let's jump in. Let's break down the universe of Habit. From 1995. Yours truly was 15 when this came out. We open on a man named Sam who's looking at some photos, and he has a memory of a ship. And he hears a noise in the almost empty apartment that he's standing in, but he kind of ignores it. He grabs a brown bag, opens a beer, leaves the apartment, and then walks down the street of what appears to be New York City on Halloween night. He arrives at a party, already drunk. So Sam has pre-gamed and he is ready, and he's greeted by some friends, and one of them says, "I'm sorry about your dad."
I'm sorry to hear about your dad.
So pretty quickly we put together that he was looking through photos of his dad, probably in his dad's apartment. A pretty girl at the party has started to pay attention to Sam. So they engage in some small talk, and we learn that her name is Anna. They leave the party together, and as they're walking, he realizes he's wearing someone else's coat. And in his coat is the photos of his dad. So he wants to turn around and go get them. As they're walking back, Sam stops and is kind of staring off at one point. And from behind, we see a hand with long, sharp nails touch his shoulder. So he turns, and Anna's there, but we see that her hand is now normal. So already I'm like clocking all these vampire things. She's going to wait outside while he runs in to get his coat, but first she writes her name and number on a piece of paper, sticks it in his pocket, and he begs for her to wait. Back in the party, he finds his coat and he starts talking to a girl named Lisa. And it seems like they must have recently split up because they're talking about how they each found a place to live. He said something about maybe he would stay in his dad's apartment. And then she said, oh, I found a place uptown. When he gets outside, Anna has left. He gets on a subway, he dozes off. And he wakes up to the light of day. He's still on the subway, and someone cut open his pants pocket and robbed him while he was asleep. Oh man, that sucks. So he gets back to his apartment, he undresses to sleep, and the paper with Anna's number falls to the ground as he climbs into bed, and the cat starts playing with the paper and kind of pushes it off to the side. When he wakes, he heads to a cafe, which he unlocks. So we know that he works there, and he's either the manager or the owner because he's the one opening it up. He goes in, he pours himself a drink. He calls the host of the party from the night before trying to get Anna's number, and the host is like, I don't know anyone named Anna. Then he talks to a guy who works there, and he's telling the guy how he met a girl at the party the night before, and the guy's like, yeah, so did I. Like, she was really freaking hot. She took me back to a houseboat.
He comes straight up to me. None of that messing around. Makes it very clear what she's after. You know what I mean?
And, you know, we did what adults do, and it was amazing. Later at the apartment, he and Lisa are deciding, like, who takes what in the breakup. She says goodbye to the cat who's named Mud, a cat named Mud, and he helps her move into her new place. Obviously, her friends do not like him. Before he leaves, Lisa tells Sam that she's not giving up on them, but her moving out is the right move for them. The next day, he's at work at the cafe telling his friend Lenny again about the girl from the party. Also, Lenny met somebody.
You should see the chick I've been hanging with.
But the one with the boat?
And he's talking about how he's like never had so much sex in his whole life and she can't get enough of it. But then he says he's not feeling so good and maybe he's coming down with something. And he does look really pale and you can see the little bit of darkness under his eyes. That night, Sam goes to a street festival. He's there with Nick and Ray, the couple who hosted the Halloween party. Ray's upset and we learn that her grandmother died. They ask, did you find the mystery girl from the party? And he's like, no, and he can't get her out of his mind, and he's like obsessed with finding this girl. So he goes to get them all beers while they wait for Lenny to show up, and he runs into Anna. She's disappointed that he's not alone, but he doesn't waste time. He like kisses her right away now that he found her. And he says, I'm going to take these beers to my friends, and then I'm coming back. I'm all yours. Please, please wait this time. When he comes back, she's bought tickets for them to go to the Ferris wheel, and he goes on it even though he's clearly very afraid of heights, and he's not acting manly at all. Later, they're walking and talking, and she admits that, yes, she crashed the party. She didn't know anyone there, and he tells her that he's known Ray since they were in grade school. They pass some nude models on some stairs having their pictures taken, and Anna seems to pay very close attention to one of the girls when the cops show up and break up the photo session. They end up in a park where things get very hot and heavy. She's giving him a happy ending with her hand, and just as he finds release, she kisses him and we see her swallow. Like they make a point to show you that she's swallowing. He wakes up the next morning in the park with his pants undone and blood on his lips. And this is the moment where yours truly was like, oh, she's a succubus. She's a succubus. At work, he's calling around to look for someone to come in because Lenny is a no-show. And we see that his lip is wounded. So she must have bitten him, and he probably's just thinking like, oh, she got carried away, she bit me while we were making out. That night he's locking up, he steps outside, and Anna is waiting outside the cafe. She says she tried to wake him, but he was passed out, so she left. They go out to food. He explains he was feeling lightheaded all day. He feels like maybe he needs to eat. And we see that she does not eat. See how I'm putting it all together here? This is how my mind works. He takes her back to his place, and she has to be invited in. Vampire rule. She briefly reacts to the bag of garlic. We see her kind of like clock it and then keep going. And it's not like enough for me to go, oh, she's repelled by garlic. I mean, she's in the apartment, but she does kind of clock it. She, then things get very hot and heavy again pretty quickly. And this time they do the full deed. The full thing happens. Then we get a bathtub scene. And we get full female nudity, and we learn that this type of vampire menstruates, which I can tell you safely. I've been doing this podcast, 5 seasons? I don't think that was ever addressed, nor did I even address it in my books, but it's addressed in this one. And she's explaining that's why she didn't worry about protection. And he's like, yeah, but there's still, things out there that we can catch. And she's like, don't worry, I can't catch anything, and I don't have anything. All right, there you go. We also see that he has cutting scars, so clearly he has traumatic backstory. The next day, he's telling his friend Nick all about this new girl, and his friend is like, remember that you're on the rebound.
You might want to consider that you were pretty seriously on the rebound.
Yeah, well, anyway, just get real easy about her.
So, keep your head straight. Nick invites Sam and Anna to their house for Thanksgiving. Sam sees like a vision of his dad standing off as they're talking, and then his dad just kind of turns and walks away. So there's a lot of hints to like a lot of trauma. Anna visits Sam's apartment that night, and they go up onto the roof, and they are intimate again. The next morning, they're sleeping when Lisa calls and leaves a message asking for him to meet her for breakfast. Anna leaves, and it looks like it might be daytime, but I can't be totally sure, but it looks like maybe like dawn is breaking. Sam meets up with Lisa and tells her that Lenny has gone missing. He seems to be kind of jittery. He tells Lisa he's been feeling a bit weird, and then he tells her he's seeing someone and they should just agree that it's over. Clearly, she did not think it was over. She thought they were maybe just taking a step back, but she's very upset. He goes into the bathroom, and it looks like he might be in some kind of physical pain, like he's having abdominal pain. Lisa pays and leaves. That night, Sam is at a get-together to honor his father, and he's supposed to speak about his father. So he explains like that his father traveled a lot, and it seems like he was always searching for something. And you could tell he's like really struggling to talk about his father. And Sam really does not look good at this point. So he's talking to one of his father's friends. And the father's friend, I think they're all like archaeologists or some kind of historians. And the friend is talking about Sam's father, and then he's like, whatever happened to that girl that you were dating? She was the perfect girl. She was great.
Thanks.
How was that girlfriend of yours, the painter?
Liza.
Yeah.
She's fine, yeah.
Your father was fond of her.
And we see Lisa step up to Sam, and then just like that, Lisa turns into Anna. And the old man that he's talking to looks very kind of confused and unsettled and upset. And so she says that she got him something, and she pulls her hand out, and she has this small like artifact in her hand. And every man in the room gets like so effing excited about this little artifact. Because like I said, I think they're all either historians or archaeologists. So they all got they get excited about it. And she's like, no, don't touch it. That's for Sam. They leave. They're walking through Central Park when she stops and crouches down, and he does too. And then we see what looks like wolves. Then we hear a car accident happening off screen. The wolves appear to have red eyes, and they start to chase Anna and Sam. But then Anna stops, and she turns to the wolves, and she holds her hand up and hisses, and the wolves back off. So we know that vampires can also not necessarily control animals, but can definitely have an effect on them and can scare the wolves away or tell the wolves to go away. They step out onto the street and we see the accident that we just heard. And it appears to be that a man was driving and hit a kid. And then after he hit the kid, he ran off the road and hit a fire hydrant. That man is slumped in the seat and the kid is in the street. Anna kneels down and says, his little life is slipping away. Then she picks him up and a cab stops. So they get in with the little boy. And at one point there's a voiceover where she says, this is the child we'll never have. And I was like, that's really, really intense and also a very weird thing to say. But I guess Sam is so far gone at this point. They rush him to the hospital. The staff takes the boy and then she pulls him into a supply room. She bites his arm and then he pulls up her dress and he's having his way with her while she drinks the blood from his arm. Afterwards, he kind of freaks out and he's like, I need to go home. It's been an intense night. I just need to wrap my head around everything. Like, I just need to breathe. I will see you tomorrow. And he gets into the cab and he's looking bad, really bad. A coworker says, hey, Sam, you don't look so good. And Sam like turns and leans on him for support and then kind of rights himself up and gathers his strength. The next morning, Nick and Ray are picking them up for the holiday weekend, and he explains that Anna left a voicemail and she's going to meet them at the house the next night. So he gets into the car with Nick and Ray, and they drive to Ray's grandmother's house, and that's where they are going to spend Thanksgiving. So they met on Halloween, and it's Thanksgiving, so like this has gotten very intense very fast. They arrive at Ray's grandmother's house. Nick gets drunk and heads to bed. So I think one of the things that's a very important plot point in this movie is that Nick clearly has an alcohol problem. So I think that makes him very vulnerable in this situation. While he's in bed, he hears Anna calling his name, and she's outside the window naked. And then she sort of like dissolves and shows back up in the room, but you can kind of see through her. So I think it's supposed to imply that she can like astrally project as a vampire. She appears in the room, dirty, naked, phasing in and out as she crawls into the bed and on top of him. The covers are pulled down, and then we hear the clock ring out. Anna reacts and she disappears. The next morning, Sam notices a small red circular wound on his abdomen. Nick comes in and tells Sam that they need to go for a swim in the ocean. Sam goes out with his friend. He says he can't because he doesn't really feel like he's up for it. He's feeling weak and tired. Then he does decide to like run and jump in. That night, as the sun is setting, Anna arrives. At dinner, Sam has to excuse himself from the table to vomit, and Anna explains he hasn't been feeling so well. And again, we see that Anna does not eat food. Ray needs a minute. She goes outside to see one of her horses, and as Anne approaches, the horse runs. So I do think that vampires affect animals. So the wolves were chasing her and she was able to scare them off, but the horse like takes off before Anna gets anywhere near it. Ray clearly doesn't like Anna, and Anna's like, why do you still carry a torch for him? Hasn't it been a while since he would get drunk and knock you around? So that's like a quick throwaway line that implies a great deal. So we know that not only does Sam have an alcohol problem, but apparently has been abusive in his past. We know that there's a very strained relationship with his father, and also that there's a history of cutting because we see scars. So really that implies a lot. It starts to rain, so Ray and Anna run for cover. Anna starts to hit on Ray, and then they kiss. Nick and Sam wake the next morning and find out that the girls took the train back to the city. They start driving back. Sam looks really, really bad, and they have to pull over for him to vomit. Mr. Lyons, which was the name of his father's friend that he was talking to at the memorial service, leaves a message saying, "I'd really like to talk to you about that woman at the reception."
Sam, Jerry Lyons here. I want to thank you again for the other night, and listen, I'd like to have a word with you about the young woman you brought to the reception. If you got a minute to give me a call.
Sam calls Lisa and asks her to hang out, but she declines. She says she left so that he would do something about his drinking, but not only has he not done anything about his drinking, but he is now dating somebody else. She starts to finally cave. She's gonna agree and let Sam come over when Anna shows up in Sam's kitchen and hangs up the phone. She says she wants to spend the night with him, but he grabs the phone to call Lisa back to apologize for this abrupt hang-up, but this time she doesn't answer. Anna says she doesn't want to fight for his interest, and he says that he needs time alone. He's not feeling like himself. He says, I just need some time. So she admits that she had a key made to his place, and she gives it back and leaves. Wow. Like, first off, I'm proud of Sam for having the strength to say, I need time away from you, because clearly she's got some kind of hold on him, and also she's been feeding, so physically he's weak. But when she was like, even if she wasn't a succubus, when she's like, this is the kid we'll never have, and I don't want to fight for your interest, and I made a key to your apartment, and it's only been a month? Yikes. Oh God, that's a horror movie in and of itself. That night he's sleeping, and we see her shadow enter the room. He's dreaming that he's running naked, and then he arrives to the boat. Lenny is in a coffin with a mouthful of fangs. Ray is there. Anna has 2 sharp canines and bites his neck, and then he starts to cut himself, and he wakes up in bed, and he has a new cut on his left chest. So this implies to me that she can invade his dreams as well. Nick visits with a beer, but Sam is not in the mood. He does not want to drink. Sam tells her he broke up with Anna. Sam says he feels like she's been fucking with him like a parasite, but Nick just doesn't totally believe that yet. Sam tells Nick about the lip biting and how she said just a little bit at a time. And then he tells Nick about how she does it every time they're intimate, and it feels so good when it's happening. And he's also kind of starting to put it together in the way that Lenny got sick right before he disappeared. So Nick is like, oh, so you think Anna's a vampire? No way. So, quick pause. So this is when I have already put it together, but this is when Sam has put together that Lenny also met a woman at the party, and they were having a lot of sex, and then he wasn't looking good or feeling good, and now he's disappeared. And he's starting to put all these little things together. And so even though Nick is not agreeing at all, I think at this point in time, Sam is like, oh shit, she's a vampire. So Sam says, I've never seen her in the daylight or eat or drink. Nick is like, vampires don't exist. You need to lay off the booze. You need to get yourself together. And also you need to get an AIDS test, which I forgot it was 1995. And it's the usual thing that we see in movies of like, the person is grieving a loss. So when the supernatural thing happens, nobody believes them because they're like, oh, you're just grieving. You're just dealing with things. Like, it's all in your head. Nick admits that he's scared. Oh, I'm sorry. Sam admits he's scared. He feels like he's going crazy. Then tells Nick to get out. But first Nick says, maybe you need to talk to somebody. You've just lost your dad. Things weren't great before that. And then he leaves. Sam realizes he hasn't seen his cat in a while. And I have to admit that I also forgot about the cat. So when he sees the food bowl hasn't been touched, I'm like, oh shit. So Sam is looking in the apartment. He finds a window open. He sees blood splatter on the wall. Then he sees on the floor is like what's left of his cat, and thank goodness they don't show it. He calls Lisa. He says, "I'm in trouble, please come over," and he leaves out like a voice message, I think. Then he heads to her apartment, but she doesn't answer the door, so he uses a pocket knife to break in. She's on the ground with a wound on her throat, blood on the ground. He gets her blood on him and then overhears the neighbor on the phone with the police. He runs, stopping at the market to buy garlic. Then he goes to his dad's place. He rubs garlic on the doors and windows. He finds a crucifix and uncovers a mirror. He clutches garlic and the cross as he calls and leaves a message for Nick, asking him to please call Sam at his dad's house. Then he pulls out some red meat and licks the blood from the packaging. Now, I don't know if he's really starting to turn or if he's just like, his poor mind is so broken that he's worried he's now a vampire. That's never addressed. There's a knock at the door. Nick calls out Sam's name, so he opens it, but it's Anna. So she can mimic other people's voices. Sam runs into the bathroom and locks the door. The phone rings and we hear Anna say, "Hello? This is Anna. Oh, hi, Lisa. I've heard so much about you. Do you want to talk to Sam?" Then she tells Sam to come out and talk to Lisa, but he screams that's not possible. He breaks off a towel bar from the wall and comes out. She flashes Fang and doesn't cast a reflection. Anna has 2 sharp canines on each side of her upper jaw. She grabs him and pushes him down, straddles him, bites his neck. She pulls off his pants and starts to ride him. He flips her over and keeps it up while he reaches for that wooden towel rod. He hits her, which I was like, I thought he was going to stake her. You have a wooden, like, why wouldn't you stake her? But he hits her instead. Grabs the garlic from the floor, runs to lock himself into a bedroom. She curls up in the hallway floor. He's realizing now that he's bleeding from a neck wound and lays on the bed in the dark. Nick and Ray arrive, hitting the buzzer for his dad's apartment. They hit every buzzer until someone lets them into the building. Nick tells her to wait outside as he runs up to the apartment. Anna is outside of the room of the window, so either she can fly or she's just very agile and she can get from window to window. She lets herself in and then jumps on top of him to start biting him again. Then she bites her wrist and she shoves it towards him.
Just a little bit curious how it tastes, how it feels.
No.
He resists and tries to run out, so she blocks the door. So he runs to the open window. Meanwhile, Nick is knocking on the apartment door. Sam is climbing out the window and she's drinking from his neck, like holding on to him. Nick breaks in. He grabs a butcher knife and runs for the locked room. He busts down the door to see garlic on the floor, but no Sam. We hear Ray screaming, "No, call an ambulance," from outside. Nick runs outside and we see both Sam and Anna lying on the street below. Neither are moving. And Sam definitely has a chunk missing from his throat. So, now that we've done that, let's talk about our vampire, okay? We see her first thing in the morning or at dusk. And it's not full dark, but it makes me think like she has to be inside for full sun, but she can be around at dusk and dawn, which we've seen that before. Her fangs come and go. Sometimes they're like 2 sharp canines. Sometimes they're like mouths full of sharp teeth, but it's kind of hard to tell what's a dream and what's real. She smells the garlic in his home and kind of like...
What's that smell?
What?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
What is it?
You can't smell it. You're standing in it, I think.
she is in the doorway and she's like, oh, what is that smell? And he's like, oh, is it the cat box? Is it me? But I think she's referring to the cooking garlic. So that's when she's like, let's go up to the roof. So she can tolerate it, but she doesn't like it. She needed invited into his home. She's invited to Ray's grandmother, and I'm sure someone at the party let her in, so it sounds like she needs to be invited in. She can either fly or levitate in order to be outside that apartment window. She can mimic voices, which is terrifying. She doesn't eat human food. She lives on blood, but clearly doesn't eat a lot. We don't know if she ages or how old she is, but we do see that she attempts a classic embrace. Now, if she is supposed to be a succubus, she is just taking a little bit of blood, but I think she's feeding from the sex as well. So I think she's feeding from both. Did I miss anything? Let me know. Did I miss anything? I think I caught it all. All right. Are they good or are they bad? This one's easy. She's the bad guy. 100%. She is the bad guy. She killed that fucking cat. I am not happy about that. All right. Let's do the ratings and then we'll talk about my thoughts. All right, how sexy or alluring are the vampires of, or vampire of habit? So Sam describes that when she's feeding, he feels almost euphoric. Like he feels this amazing sense wash over him. He sees her at a party and cannot stop thinking of her. I think she can appear to you as whatever perfect partner you want. She looks different for each person, I'm assuming. She uses her sexuality to lure victims in. She goes after men and women. Now I'm gonna pull 2 points because sex with her will kill you, but I'm gonna give her an 8 out of 10 for sexiness and allure. Like she burrows into your brain, into your libido, and she gets you all wound up and randy and you can't think straight and like you're so lost that you don't care that she's acting fucking crazy. And she eventually fucks you to death. Yikes. What a way to go though, right? Anywho. All right. How scary or evil is the vampire of habit? Again, she killed the cat. Why? You didn't have to do that. Fuck her. I don't like her. But also she appears to be bound by full daylight. Apparently she can float or fly. She can like get into your dreams, I think. She does die. And it looks like she dies from a fall from the building. Which, I mean, I don't know, stake to the heart, beheading, a fire would kill anybody. But apparently this vampire can die if you just throw her out a window too. So she's like kind of killable. Unless it's the sunlight. Maybe because he pulled her out into full sun. But she showed up in full sun. I don't know. Anywho, is she more sexy or scary? I mean, I'm gonna call it more sexy than scary. Because she does use her sexuality to consume you. You know what? I'm gonna give her a tie, okay? I really don't want to come across her at all. 8 out of 10 for scariness and evil. Like, she would obviously get to me very quickly. She doesn't care, men, women. She goes after everybody. She becomes your perfect partner. Like, that's terrifying. That's terrifying. All right. My thoughts. So, I have to admit, this one started out a little bit slow, but I did get into it. And I was so intrigued, and I wanted to see how it was all going to play out. I wish we'd been able to hear what Mr. Lyons was going to say about her, because I was so intrigued by that. I think it almost, from his acting when she came in, I think he knew what she was, but we never get to see that scene. But basically, to everybody, she appears perfect. So she had that artifact which got all the men all psyched. So she can offer you or give you or become whatever you want the most. I do wish too we had seen more of Lenny or what became of him, or more of an idea of how she presented to him and how she lured him in. I would have liked to see more of that. Like I said, she can present to you with whatever your heart desires. I would love to see this remade now. We don't get succubus stories too often. I think ultimately It was the fact that she couldn't accept that he told her no. The fact that he was like, get out, give me my key, I don't want to be with you, is why she was ready to embrace him. Because I think she was like, oh, like he's playing hard to get, he's strong, he's actually pushing back on me, I'm gonna turn him and make him mine forever. She could have left him alone and moved on, but she chose not to, and she would still be killing if she had. So it was like her own obsession with the fact that he said no that was ultimately her demise. I love that he essentially sacrificed himself. Rather than give in, he killed himself and took her with him, which I thought was awesome. Very, very good ending. I was afraid it was going to be just him and she had gotten away with it and they would all think that he had gone insane and like killed himself. I'm so glad that they didn't do the thing where you see him without a bite on his throat and then you have to wonder, was it all in his head or was it some kind of vampire power? I love the way that it ended. I thought it was such a good ending. I love movies that make you wonder if you would fall for it and end up in the same mess. I feel like we all would. I mean, if she presents to you as your perfect idea, then I think we would all fall for it and we would all end up in the same boat. I would definitely watch this one again. It was unique, it was interesting and clever. I feel like every time I watch it, I'm gonna catch something new. So there's something very cool about that. So I will definitely watch this one again. Thank you for your recommendation. Please, everybody, let me know what you want me to see. If you made it to the end, put succubus down below. And next week, we are going to talk about Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. I have seen Vampire Hunter D, but I have never seen Bloodlust, the sequel, so I'm very excited to sit down and watch it. Join me next week. Let me know what you want me to cover. I hope that you're having a great time. Let me know if you too are already doing spooky things, like already doing pumpkin coffee. Have you already set up your Halloween decorations? Let me know, or let me know when you think it's too early or like when you normally do it. But I hope that the summer is coming to an end nicely for all of you. I'm excited for the nights to get longer again. As always, I wish you wicked hugs and bloody kisses. Good evening.
And